What's going on, everybody? So, if you have not already checked out, I have my top 5 worst horror movies of 2018 already dropped on this channel. But if you have seen that, if you're all caught up like good little boys and girls, here we are with the best, the movies that are fun to talk about. Not the dreck, not the horse shit that I just had to list. The best horror movies of 2018. And 2018 was a damn good year for horror, I gotta admit. Now let me go ahead and say this now. If you are somebody that watches ranking videos to see videos that have the exact same opinion as you so you can stamp that like button, or see if they disagree with you so that you can post hate comments in the comment section, go ahead and get that hate comment loading, because I guarantee you my list of movies is going to be different than yours. There's a lot of movies that are on probably 90% of the lists of this year for horror fans all across the world that are omitted from my list, and there's going to be some movies on my list that 90% of the horror fans out there either forgot or did not like. But if I'm not honest, what's the point of doing these lists, right? So, with that being said, I have, I think, 9 movies that I'm going to talk about. 4 of them are honorable mentions. I'm going to get those out really quick. But, very good year for horror, and there are some damn good movies on this list as far as I'm concerned. So, number 9, well, I'll just say the 4 honorable mentions. I'll just list those out really quick. So, we got The Ritual from Netflix. This is a movie that was released, I believe, in the UK sometime in 2017, but we didn't get it until this year in the US, so around February they dropped it. I just watched it last week, just kind of going through movies that I haven't seen this year to see if maybe there were some hidden gems that would sneak into my list. This one almost made it. The Ritual is basically like the movie that I wish the Blair Witch movies were. That's about as far as I'm going to tell you, because I'm encouraging all of you to go watch it. The ending is where it lost me. I felt like it lost a lot of its lore in the last couple of minutes. It felt like the ending was very convenient, but it has a lot of good scares in it. There's some good gore, very creepy movie, a lot of great cinematography in it, some of the best cinematography of the year, so check out The Ritual. Moving on from that is Unfriended Dark Web. I did a review for this movie. I was a big fan of it. I love the first Unfriended. I have no reason to love the first Unfriended because I hate found footage. The whole gimmick looked like exactly that, just a gimmick. Pretty damn good horror movie. Unfriended Dark Web I liked just as much. It's not supernatural. It's more about like actual people and the dark web and murders and secret societies and stuff. Very cool movie. So if you like the first one and you were nervous about the second one, check it out because I recommend it. 7 is The Domestics, or the other honorable mention. The Domestics. This is a movie that was released very quietly. It stars Kate Bosworth, and I can't remember the fucking dude's name, but he's the guy that plays Superman on the CW right now. And it's about this couple in a post-apocalyptic America trying to get across the US, and there's like the Warriors-style murderous gangs out there, and they keep encountering different ones. Very cool movie, very brutal. And the final honorable mention, it's gonna get me a lot of hate comments, but like I said, honesty. Hereditary. This movie did not make my top 5. The reason why, if you watch my full review, you get all the reasons why this movie, there was brilliant things about it and there's things that frustrated me about it. I gave it a second watch because I do believe this is a movie that's going to take a couple of watches to really appreciate it. And I still, even as I say this now, a couple years from now, Hereditary might end up being one of my top 5 looking back. But as it stands now, Hereditary has great cinematography, great tone, great eeriness about it, great performances. If Toni Collette does not at least get nominated for Best Actress, the Oscars can go fuck themselves. You get Alex Wolff, who's very good, but some of the aspects of his performance when he kind of gets devolved into a little kid when he's saying mommy and stuff like that, that's one of my issues. I feel like the ending doesn't quite satisfy as far as I'm concerned, and there's a lot of unanswered questions that the movie does not bother answering that should be answered. I like unanswered questions. I like being able to piece things together myself, but there's certain things about it that makes logic issues for me if you don't at least give us the clues in there somewhere to figure it out. There's some things the movie just says, fuck it, move on, don't ask questions. But Hereditary is one of the best movies of the year. Just didn't quite make my top 5. Now, getting into my top 5 best horror movies of 2018. Sorry, I gotta keep looking at my phone. There's a lot of movies to talk about. All right, number 5. For me, a movie that I basically forgot about until I was getting ready to prepare this list and started looking over all the movies I watched in 2018. Unsane. This is a movie I did not see in theaters, but I bought it after it came out on Blu-ray, and I was really, really blown away at how good this movie was. It tells a story of a woman who is basically tricked into admitting herself into this insane asylum, and she cannot escape for a period of time. She can't get anybody to believe her story because she's in an insane asylum. Everybody thinks you're crazy. Beyond that, She's still recovering from a really sadistic stalker that has been stalking her for like the past year, 2 years or whatever. And when she's in this insane asylum, she keeps seeing her stalker as one of the staff. So the whole movie is like this really tense paranoia journey of, is she crazy or is she in this really fucked up situation with a really fucked up guy? And the movie does brilliant with keeping you guessing about what the actual answer is. And it pays off beautifully in the third act. The whole thing is filmed on an iPhone. That's pretty crazy. Steven Soderbergh always has a weird kind of look to his films. It always has like this kind of yellowish orange tint to it. But the fact that he filmed the whole thing with an iPhone, pretty impressive. And it tells you how far technology's come too. We got a professional camera that can make Hollywood studio films in our fucking pocket. But Unsane, highly recommended. It's one of the most forgotten movies of 2018, and that's my number 5. Number 4 is a movie that came out of absolutely nowhere. I had absolutely zero expectations for it and really enjoyed it. Didn't get a chance to review it, got very busy around that time of the year, but Overlord is number 4. This is basically a war film, and it's a really good war film that ends up devolving itself into like this, or not devolving, evolving itself into this science experiment style zombie film in the third act. This is a story about soldiers in World War II that have to take out this church that's some kind of a communication hub, I believe, if I remember correctly. And while they're staking out, trying to plan their attack on this place, and weird things start happening when they actually get to the church. There's science experiments, little Nazi science experiments, where they're doing these things to humans to make them these evolved crazy monsters that are essentially like zombies. The movie's very, very cool, very entertaining, pretty bloody and brutal at times. And like I said, it's actually a damn good just war film. If they never found zombies, it would still be a damn good war film, but you get that extra horror flavor in there. It's also the debut, or not the debut, it's the debut for me because I never realized he was Kurt Russell's son. But one of the main characters in this movie is Kurt Russell's son. And he's awesome. I've seen him in movies before, but I've never really liked him all that much. This is the movie what makes me pay attention to this guy and goes, damn, you got some of your dad's charisma. And there's moments in this movie where it feels like Kurt Russell in like The Thing. It feels like Kurt Russell in Tango and Cat. It feels like Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell's the shit. I love Kurt Russell. Can you tell? But a lot of great things about Overlord. The only reason it's not in my top 3 is just because there's some things about it that's a little bit like familiar. There is some directions it takes where you can kind of see where it's going, but it's fun the entire way through. It's one of the most entertaining movies of this year. So that made my top 5 at number 4, baby. Overlord. Number 3 is a movie that was a very late addition to 2018 and is still kind of making a stir around social media through memes and through people's own reviews of it. A lot of different opinions out there on Bird Box, but Bird Box was a very, very good horror film to me. It's essentially like somebody looked at The Happening and said, that movie sucks, let me do it in a really good way. Now, with that being said, I actually really like The Happening as a guilty pleasure, like unintentional comedy. The movie's really bad, but it's hilarious. But you get to Bird Box, and Bird Box is the best version of that premise you could possibly get. Takes a few elements that are similar to A Quiet Place, which is the movie's downfall. They did not steal from A Quiet Place because the book Bird Box existed before A Quiet Place, and these movies came out so close to each other that there's no way that they were like peeking over on the other person's desk. It's bad timing. It's like Volcano Dante's Peak. Bad timing. But Bird Box is damn good. Bird Box has probably the best performance by Sandra Bullock you've seen in a long time. A lot of great tension, a lot of really scary stuff going on with this entity that will kill you or make you kill yourself if you look at it. So everybody's gonna walk around blindfolded. Just the birthing scene alone in this movie where you have 2 women giving birth while the crazy guy's in the house trying to make everybody look at the entity. They have everything walled up and he's pulling everything down while people are giving birth. Total tension. Not going to spoil anything else beyond that. That's not even really that much of a spoiler. Those are just some of my key scenes. The ending is where a lot of people kind of get harped on a little bit. And it was not the best ending in the world. I didn't hate it as much as everybody else, but that is what kind of knocks it down a little bit, was the way that it resolved in a nice little neat bow. And aside from that, just maybe 1 or 2 of the characters that felt like they were kind of forgotten. There were some really strong characters, but there's a couple of them that are just there as kind of like, oh, hey, look, it's Machine Gun Kelly. Beyond that, Bird Box, damn good movie. Highly recommended it. I just did a full review on it like a week or so ago, so check it out, guys. And it's free on Netflix. If you pay for Netflix, it's not technically free, I guess, but you can watch it on Netflix right now. Check it out. Bird Box, number 3. Now, here we go. Top 2 best horror movies of 2018. Number 2, for me is A Quiet Place. A Quiet Place was awesome. This is a movie that I refuse to watch any trailers for. There's 1 or 2 movies a year that I hear a little bit of buzz about, the premise sounds interesting, and I refuse to watch a trailer because I do not like trailers fucking up movies for me. I don't want to see the third act. I don't want to see people's deaths. I don't want to see huge plot points in a trailer. And trailers nowadays do all of that, almost all the time. So A Quiet Place was very hyped up. It was a movie I went in basically blind, and I enjoyed it all the way throughout. I think that the performances are great. John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are fantastic. The direction by John Krasinski is fantastic. I really like the design of the creatures. Some of the most scary, intense scenes of the entire year are in this movie, especially once Emily Blunt has her baby and they have to do certain things to keep the baby quiet and keep the baby safe while these monsters are lurking around. Awesome stuff. There was a small logic issue that I had regarding the kind of twist at the end somewhat, but as I've watched it in rewatches, it's not as much of a plot hole as I thought it was. It is something that I feel like is a slippery slope, but it's not something that was as major as I thought it was the first time I saw it in the movies. So since I saw it in the movies when I really liked it, now I've liked it even more upon rewatch. So A Quiet Place, one of the best experiences of the year, number 2. But my number 1, no, it's not Halloween. Go ahead and get it out the way. Go ahead. Yell at me down below. If you're a fan of this channel, you should know it was not number 1. Number 1 for me is Summer of '84. If you're looking at me going, what the fuck is Summer of '84? Stop the video. Go online right now to Amazon Instant Videos, something. Rent Summer of '84 and then get back to this movie or get back to this video. I don't want to spoil anything about Summer '84 for you because it's my number 1 movie. I thought this movie was awesome. Summer of '84 is essentially one of those throwback films, which at this point should annoy me because I'm kind of getting tired of the whole 80s is the best kind of craze we're in right now where everything has to be 80s. Summer of '84 does it the best since I've seen since the first season of Stranger Things. You got a group of kids who think that their neighbor is a murderer. A premise we've seen a couple of times. But it's the characters of these kids, their interactions, the fun of the character interactions, the tense scenes that they have where they're trying to investigate this neighbor and not get caught, the mystery going on in your head somewhat about is this guy a killer or is he not, the doubt that the movie actually makes you have a couple of times about where things are going, is he really a killer, is there going to be some big reveal, you don't know where the movie is going for the most part. But when the movie decides to tell you, when you get to the third act, from that point to the end is the best movie experience that I've had, period, in 2018. The third act of this movie is by far, by a landslide, the best third act and best ending to a movie that I've seen this year and probably most of last year. It is fucking awesome. It has balls. It does things that movies of this nature never have the guts to do. It makes it stand out and it fucking haunts you. I'm not gonna spoil it, but when you get to the end, and when you really think about what just happened and the repercussions of what just happened and how that's going to play out in this person's life, it is terrifying. It is haunting. It's ballsy and it grabs you by the throat. This is the only movie in 2018 that I literally watched 3 times in a 2-week period. I watched it first just because everybody was kind of somewhat whispering about it. I watched it before everybody was talking about it, but a couple of people I trust were like, hey, Summer of '84 is out. Cool, I'm bored. I watched it. Man, that was damn good. Watched it a second time with Holly. Man, it's even better than I remember it. Watched it a third time before I went to before I really started getting off the high of it, and I loved it even more. It's awesome. Can't say anything more about it. Some people say it's too derivative. Some people say it's boring. Obviously, I disagree. I think too many people are on this everything's a ripoff of Stranger Things thing, which annoys the fuck out of me. Stranger Things, in and of itself, as awesome as it is, I love it, is a complete ripoff of numerous things. Stranger Things is not original at all. It's just nostalgic and cool. Same thing with Summer of '84. It's not necessarily original. It does things that we've seen before. It does things that we've seen numerous times before, but it does it damn good. So Summer of '84, my number 1 horror film of 2018. Well, that's it, guys. That is my list. Top 5 best horror films of 2018. So moving on from here, we're going to be talking about all of the movies of 2018. You might see a couple of these movies pop up in those lists, but now we've got the horror stuff taken care of for all you horror fanatics. What was the best? What was the worst? Now, keep an eye out for the top 10 worst, top 10 best, and top 10 most disappointing films of 2018. Finally, followed by the top 10 most anticipated films of 2019. So keep an eye out for all that, guys. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you guys want to check out some social media links, check the video description below for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My Spreadshirt store, which is a place where I have like t-shirts, I have mugs, I have bags, other cool stuff that is designed by the great Woody Bowen. Very cool stuff. Check it out, guys. And my Patreon page, which is a great way to give back to this channel, help this channel grow, and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only if you decide to become a patron. So check all that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, including some of the reviews of all these movies I've just talked about and the rest of my lists for 2018, you can check those out by clicking right over here.